Um, hmm. Hello, good evening. Where are you at? And maybe where are you at in the physical, geographical world? Pop your name in the chat and say hi. We honestly, I guess that I keep saying this, but it blows me away how. Sorry, I'm kind of not been in long. Um, I'm looking at my hair. It's all frizzy. Sorry. So this extraordinary escalation, I want to say, of the energy in the heart, and the way in which we are being hmm, encouraged to explore that, and I'm feeling that we have moved into and are more collectively moving into using that as our great measure, as our tool, as our exploratory way of navigating the world through this incredible aspect of the heart. And it's very tangible, but it's like learning how to ride a bike. You have to practice it. It doesn't come, it's not, riding a bike is not a natural thing until it becomes a pattern, a habit, a natural thing. But it isn't when we first get on to be this biped on a cycle in motion like this while we're balancing here. And this is what I feel is a reasonable analogy to this way of learning how to work with the heart. And for me, I feel just more and more expanded in the heart, and that I guess I've been exploring that sitting in the heart space for a while, but it's been going through upgrades. It's giving more information now. We're able to hold it with greater prowess. And to me, I was just looking through what I've been writing over the last. I can't believe I haven't done a live for a while. I'm a bit sort of off track. There's been a lot going on, and yes, I wanted to speak to speak to you about that. So thank you for joining me here at this late notice, which of course is always what I do. But we we are in these times where we are being asked to navigate differently. We are being asked to be able to recognize not just what is true, but what is true and authentic to self. What is true for you may not be true for me. What is important to me may not be your authentic alignment. And it's the acceptance of that we're navigating as well. So for me, everything is kind of coming back to this beautiful place in the heart. This where, because many of us have been working in our hearts for a while, but now it's like it's really the heart's leading the way. It's been having these, what I want to describe them as, these soft explosions in the physical, in the resonant body. Our bodies are becoming these great navigation tools, allowing us to have our internal GPS very well refined, and that we are becoming the experts at using it. Hello, Billy. Thank you for coming. Welcome, welcome. So I feel that there's a lot of energies around this. There's a lot of information around this. And what I feel I've been trying to do for you is to not like write heaps and heaps, hi Charlotte, but to just write a succinct amount of information that you can process and work with. So I feel to yeah, I'll try not to get off track, because you will be of the understanding that there's a lot going on here. So we are in this sort of, I think, I think it's fair to say that many of us are in this final cycle of purification. Like we've gone down to the deepest and back to the most ancient, and that for many of you who work here with me or sit here with me, that you will have done a lot of that work, and that now I want to say that you will be holding space for others around you, for those who are in your family, for your friends, for your loved ones. And it isn't about healing them either. It's about holding space for them to do that work for themselves. So there is that aspect. And then there's this um, the reveal of truth. So for me, there's a number of sort of themes that are going on, and one is this aligning to self and really being able to use self as this navigation tool to fathom, is this true for me or not? Is this authentic? Is this important to me? Does that matter to me? Where is my next bit of guidance? And to be really using the body like that navigation tool. I don't know what you call it, but it reminds me of in a boat, the compass. It kind of sits suspended so that the movement of the boat on the ocean doesn't impact it. It sits suspended, and I feel that that's kind of what we're learning to do. So there's that aspect, and then there's the people who are awakening to truth, to the truth of what has been going on in the world, and that's very confrontational, and to health being more important in the intrusion in those aspects of our world through the medical, pharmaceutical, and through our food and water. So that's a big thing to be confronted with if you've never really thought about it. And so there's that aspect. And then there's this kind of great authentic love and where we're coming to with that. And that's all to do with our ascension. And I guess I found myself not using the word ascension quite so often because it, it it's attached to a lot of story, and I think that's why Gaia has been using this term dimensional shift. So we are in the process of ascension. Of course, it's a to me it's sort of a longer cycle, but there's these bits that are coming in that are catalysts for some kind of energetic purification or action or recognition. And so those are all of the bits. Um, and and then there's the timing. So the timing is the elusive aspect, and the timing is the human part of us that wants to know. And that's a challenge for us to give up the need to know. So you'll remember that there's a few things that Gaia has spoken about that we're in the midst of as humanity, of sort of busting down some general paradigms to shift. And one of them is to give up the need to know, and another is to give up the need to be right. And so, in this acceptance that it is all unfolding in perfect divine timing, we're challenged to rise to that, I want to say. Um, yeah, so interesting the kind of imagery that's been gifted to me over the last couple of weeks, but a lot of it has been to do with the heart, and a lot of it has been to do with this attuning to self. Hello, 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 Debbie, and hello, Michelle and Annika. Welcome, thank you. Yeah, sleep, can't sleep. That's right. So, in a sort of bigger picture, it is that. Well, I kind of there's a lot of words that I could use, and I don't want to be creating confusion. But if you like, the photonic light that is in our ionosphere is fast, and it's like on speed, and we are being impacted by it more and more. There's more infusion, if you like, into us and into the planet, into the atmosphere, into all of our cycles as well. And this is all to be sparking us up and awakening those who are still awake, asleep, and to be kind of creating this movement of consciousness, but through the heart and through love and the values of acceptance and allowance as well. So the old paradigms that are being broken down, that is the purpose. It's so that we can be really dropping into love, and it's so we can really be in the space of acceptance and allowance. Yeah, so I'll move back to um, I've got, yeah, I don't think I've spoken these things. I don't think, I'm surprised because I did that meditation. I suppose that's why. And that meditation, so there's a building site opposite, and the meditation, that 9-minute meditation, took about 4 hours for me to edit because when I listened back to it, there were skill saw noises and hammers and wrenches on pipes and all sorts of noises in the background that I hadn't noticed because I was in that deep space when I was recording it. So I'm going to try and get into the habit perhaps of doing it later because I imagine that's going to be an ongoing thing for the next year. And also I'll perhaps do later broadcasts or in the weekend. But there was um, this imagery of us coming into these revolving doors, like they have sometimes in big department stores, for example, or like the revolving gateways moving through into a railway station. Um, that this was our experience, that we're moving through these revolving doors of endings and new beginnings, and all of us, each of us, having different aspects of that, but that in general, the advising that I received from Gaia is that people would be having endings and closings in at least one of those things. So it may be in relationships, it may be in work, it may be in location, it may be in some family areas, but an ending. It's like we I want to say we're kind of being tested about, can we do that? Can we let things end? Can we be in that state of being with and accepting that things are moving and things are coming, and to be like not holding on to them too tightly? So some movement through the revolving doors is what came as the first phrase that dropped into my mind on the 16th of March, which of course now is 12 days ago, as all are experiencing is what came. Endings or closings in at least one realm of life, perhaps work, location, house, relationships, countries as well. I've been speaking to quite a lot of people over the last few months who are looking at moving countries. It may be involving friendships, it may be involving colleagues, family, or intimate relationships, but it will, and this is part of this shift, but it will happen, at least in my perception of this shift, in a way that's gentle. We're not cutting through things. We're not ripping things apart. We're unfolding it like a beautiful piece of origami. And it's this moving dance, I think I did speak about this actually. But it still is part of our current narrative. So it's also that it's gentle, it's undulating, and I feel that we're going to feel held and supported through it. It's not going to be that we feel like we've been thrown off the edge of the cliff, or that we've been, thrown out of a vehicle on the motorway. It's this beautiful unfolding, like the wings of the butterfly or a beautiful lotus flower unfolding to the light. And also that you're encouraged to, I know that someone gave me a book once which perfectly describes this: just roll over and float. And it's like that is our practice. So I feel that our practice is about this soft movement, this dropping into the heart, and then this laying back as though You're lying in the water, it's the water that's moving, and you allow the water to move you. You don't have to row, you don't have to do anything, you're just allowing the energies to move you now, because we kind of, I feel anyway, we are in this divine orchestration of the energetic, and the energies are moving us to where we're meant to be, and they're moving us away from where we're meant to be, and they're moving us to who we're meant to be with and what we're meant to be doing. And so we can be in the nuance of this energetic feeling of it, the acknowledgement of it, the sensory of it, and be guided in that way. And as soon as you are in the thinking or in the I don't know, I want to say to you that I don't know means it's either a no or it's a not now. So there's a lot of things that will be happening, and maybe you're querying the timing of it. So just be with that. Okay, well, I don't know what this is right now, but it's not a yes. And so if it's not a yes, you know it's either a no or not the right timing. So that's my personal way of working with that, and I've found that that's true. Um, and then to really come into this focusing on relationship with self. It's like if you cannot love and accept and be an allowance of who you are at the core of you, and who you are and how you represent yourself and how you interact with your inner being and with those around you, then you're kind of stuck. So you have to be really in that beautiful internal connection and loving of self to be given that guidance of what you're meant to be doing next. And this value as well, this claiming value of self, just watch out that you're not being disregarding of yourself, that you are owning, oh yeah, I understand that. I get that. I might not know the answer, but I know that I will know the answer in the right timing. And to be in the trusting of that instead of sitting in the doubting of that. And um, to know that you can and that you will make the right decisions at the right timing. And to be kind of in the practice of the bird's eye view, the rising up to sit on the top of the pinnacle, to look out over the world and have this big picture perspective and viewpoint. So I really have felt that this last part of March just holds this theme of its own, which is this receiving guidance and propulsion and divine arrangement. That's how it showed up to me, to be where you are meant to be, with whom you are meant to be, and in right timing, right meeting, right people, and right action. So I think you can sit in the expectation that those things are going to show up from the external to the internal. um, that's another shift that we are making as humanity. This going deeply into self. That's where we find our rudder, if you like. Hello, Rika. Hello, Debbie. That's where we find our general sort of tenet of operation, is that deep internal. How does it fill you up? How do you feel fulfilled? What flows to you? So this idea of sort of pushing through, striving for, that's definitely old paradigm. And now it's like what feels right, what fills my heart, what pushes me into there. Where am I feeling the flow? What draws me to do that? And so, sit with those kind of principles of what feels right. Where do I feel to go? Where am I drawn to be today? And this coming into this recognition that it might not be the same as before. So how you make sense, it won't be, I want to say that it won't necessarily be in the logical. it may well be in the tenet of something that is like, wow, that I never expected that to happen, or that's a new kind of arrangement for me that hasn't been on my radar. Um, Especially to kind of like maybe new events that you get drawn to go to, or new people that you meet, or things that you want to suddenly like, oh, it just doesn't feel right for me to be there or to go there or to do that any longer. And you just it to me it's like the finessing. We're finessing the way in which we make decisions, the way in which we choose direction, and the way in which we receive our guidance. So alignment has come into the physical now. That's to me, that is the shift. It's happening very tangibly in our physical body. Everything coming into the physical, which doesn't mean we're not connected, but that we are feeling things in our physical body because our physical bodies are having this upgrade into the crystalline structure. And that crystalline structure, it holds a higher frequency. We've got this energetic that's running up through the spine. Some really nice things came about that later on as well. So, alignment in the physical regarding people, relationships, and work opportunities. What is true and purposeful for you? I think that's not a bad question to be asking yourself about where you're meant to be, what is true and purposeful for you, and dropping deeply into yourself to really trust that, to trust your own inner truth and in divine alignment with yourself. This, what feels to me like this full embodiment of self. I feel that many of us are at that place, this full embodiment of our own divinity and our own luminescence. So, this huge expansion, that's what I was feeling on the, yeah, the 19th, I think. Yes, I wrote that on the 19th. This huge expansion, feeling extra sensitive in a sensory and emotional way as these energies have. So, this is what I was showing. These energies have enhanced your cellular body and integration through the physical upgrading into crystalline silica molecular structure. So, we're really in that form now, and now we're learning to use that form. The purification on all levels continues both within self and earth. The endings of many cycles, feeling really emotional as I state that out loud, converging at this time. So it's the end of a 26,000 year cycle. And of course, then we're, right from there down to the 1 day cycle. So a lot of old stories, a lot of old experiences arriving for review, to have a look at, to examine them, and to feel them, and then to integrate them. So it really is this kind of finessing. So I'm just reading through some personal things here. Oh yeah. On the following day, had this really. I wrote, my heart is blowing so wide open. Like, I don't think I've ever felt my heart being that wide open. It was like, it really was like it just went and just had, it was like the soft explosion, which I felt before, but this was like a next level. And I felt soaked in and saturated in love. I was the day that I was heading off on retreat. I've been on retreat for a few days. Um, and I wrote in here that that date, the 20th, was a fulcrum point for humanity as it presents itself for the receipt of this incoming solar light, to feel this in your breath, in your cells. How will you be transformed and what are your inner desires. And I was shown that we were sitting in the middle of this white crystalline energy that was just exploding up through our center. And I went in an entire hour, and maybe I did speak about this, but anyway, it's okay because it's this. To me, this is what a lot of people are going through, and we might be going through it in cycles. We might not do it all in one go, but in 1 hour, I just went through this whole gamut of emotions. I, I, I want to say that I feel pretty. I feel like I have quite a lot of expertise in being able to be the detached observer with that. Um, and yeah, I it was like I really was this observer of what was happening. And I also didn't get stuck in the story of why this is happening. I was just observing it. But I went through being annoyed and sad and depressed and peeved. I cried. This was without any, there was no catalyst that I knew of. And then I felt loved and I felt absolutely sated and joyful, exhilarated. And then I went into neutral, and then there was all this passion. So I just went through. It was like a 10-second or a 30-second, probably less, experience of this entire gamut of emotions. And I'm just watching myself and I'm like, wow, this is like a life review. So I did speak about this anyway. Some people will be going through that if they haven't already. And I just did all of was like in conversation with myself, in my own mind. Um, yeah, and yes, I definitely have said this to you, but I don't know why I didn't register that I have. But anyway, that's okay. So the dictionary version of my own sensory expression was how I summarized that. And that we are awakening to a deeper level. And for me, I was appreciating my own ability to decipher, and to explore and to be vulnerable and to be witnessed, and the capacity. Yeah, I think that's what I really recognized is the capacity that I've developed to do that for others, to hold space for others to do that. Um, and then a split, an opening in the sky. So it showed up like a big square sort of hatch that was pushed back, like an opening in the ceiling. And I was on retreat that day, and so I was shown that and given information that that was 11th and 12th dimensional light and crystalline frequency, an energy influx. So it wasn't like we're now exposed to all of this 11th and 12th dimensional energy. It was like a little little influx, a little pump for us to be gifted. And I feel that that mostly related to first wavers, this accelerated high frequency 11th and 12th dimensional energy, like an elixir, like a bit of an extra energy boost. And I was shown that they may have been captured. So some of you may have photographed that maybe as baubles, as crystalline spheres of light, due to highly refractive and reflective surface tension that many will experience feeling these through the higher back. So you'll know I've talked about the wing activations coming through the collarbone and the shoulder bone, the shoulder blades, and the shoulder. So the shoulder points, the collarbones, and the shoulder blades, and that links to our. I want to say that's our third, that we've just had our third activation through those areas. And to me, it's the activation of the DNA that codes back or is encoded to times when we've been angelic, or I think mostly to do with that really, but it could be other winged beings. But I feel that that particularly was to do with the angelic codes, and that many will experience feeling these through their higher back and shoulders. So You may have not been so collarbone and shoulder blades and shoulder points, that's been where the first two have come. That's been my read of it. But this came through as this higher back and shoulders today, a new place for receipt. So that was on the 21st. That many that it also relates to tension release for a spinal extension to follow and improved posture for many. So you will have heard me talk about this notion that the spine is going to be slightly elongated and everybody will be a little bit taller. So that kind of idea, another aspect of that or another portion of that. And this crystal alignment from the 20th was also part of that preparation. That we had this. I was showing that we had. No, sorry, I should really have looked this up, but one of you may know. Oh, hi, Debbie. Hi, Helen. A spinal sweep. So actually, while I'm sitting here, I'll just look that up on here. But that's the language that I was given. So some of you may know what that means. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so a spinal sweep also links to a kundalini. Oh no, that's giving me a spiral sweep. Sorry, clicked on the wrong thing. Anyway, maybe you can look that up and I'll find out some more about that. But that's what I was showing, that on the 20th we had received a spinal sweep, that hydration was extra important. And a new round of wing activation begins with release of angelic codes. Oh, okay. Sorry, got ahead of myself. From the shoulder blades and the collarbones, and many new contracts and agreements will commence. So just be mindful of that, to be in flow with the endings and the beginnings. Don't be in the old paradigm holding on to things for too long. Just allow this movement to come and go, and just be in the feeling of the heart. Does it feel right? And then equilibrium will be sought. So that was what I got for last Sunday. And many layers as everyone comes into energetically beginning to understand these new frequencies, these new energies, and that you may be experiencing everything and anything on the spectrum. And it wouldn't surprise me if that's been the experience of many for the entire of this last week. Anything on the spectrum, from rage to anger, from depression to sadness to joy and elation. After you've moved through these experiences or rememberings on the shadow side of the spectrum, you will then assimilate the higher. So it's kind of like the last the last round of the cleanup for many. The negative shadow aspects ultimately will, and I'm not saying that that's going to happen this week, but the shadow aspects ultimately will leave your experience, as well, the sort of your daily emotional experience, as you will more consistently be living in the now moment of the eternal bliss. Now, doesn't that fill you up? I'm going to read that again. The negative shadow aspects ultimately will disappear from your daily emotional experience, and you will more consistently be living in the now moment of the eternal bliss. I put together a guided meditation that's on the channel, so you're welcome to go on and do that. And then this invitation to all of you, to each of you, to fall into yourself, to try to fall into your own heart, and to sit there and to feel what's going on, to ask your heart to be in dialogue with you, and ask your heart, what does it need you to know? What does it need you to understand? And to be in this space of feeling like you're floating, within your own heart, in the suspended animation of your heart space, and just be allowing things to like move in and move out, float in and float out, come down and move out, come from behind, from all of the directions, but just be really sitting in that space. So I'll just give you this. It's a little personal note from Gaia to me. She said, be in the practice of what is and what is here now. Really soak up the opportunity to examine now moment in the smallest micro increments. So I just invite you to have a little feel into that. And then this day, which was Tuesday, I think, of this week, brings a broad smile, this is Gaia, across the face of humanity as more are aware. In fact, enough, she said, to steady the ship, that all that is occurring, all of it, relates to ascension and arising in consciousness. So from the revealing of corruption and the evil, the control mechanisms of banks and governments, the pharmaceutical and medical money loops, the intrusion of the chemical toxins and poisons into our food and water systems. These are all the great reveals to people of what has been going on in our world, which you will all know about. And then, that, I don't know when that song was written, but it's fairly incredible to me, that song, this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, and that's what came through from Gaia, and of course it is. We are now in it. And she says this: consciousness calls, and will you answer? And how will you answer? Through your heart and the practice of attunement to your heart. That's the advising, if you like. That's what I like to call what Gaia gives me and gives us, advising. And then this little tiny bit of poetry. Welcome to our new world. Welcome to the new furls, unwrapping the wise pearls, spiraling the higher whirls. And then yesterday, creation abounds on this day. And again, bring your attention to your heart and dwell there a few minutes, several times today. Sit in the experience of your own energetic heart space. Notice the movements, the feelings, particularly the sensory feelings. Follow the heart breath. So you'll know I've been speaking about this. It's like the heart is breathing by itself, in and out. Follow that. The rise and fall of the chest, the expansion and the retraction of the energetic heart, and then attune. So you can attune through your own sensitivities. If you see or feel, or you might hear, or you might get a knowing, or you might get a download. But attune to the finer frequencies and energies within, and notice the shapes and the forms that are being created in the direction of the movement. And it was this, which I thought was rather nice. How do your facial muscles respond while attuning to your heart energy? So just do that for a moment. Just put your hand on your heart and feel into the energy of what's going on in your energetic heart. So the energetic heart, really, it sits all the way across your chest and your higher chest, and then the equivalent across the back. So if you just feel into that and see how your facial muscles respond to what's going on in your heart. And close your eyes and allow those to present themselves. Maybe allow them to take you on a little journey. Notice where it takes you. It may take you to a past experience, or may take you into a trajectory through to a future experience. A time as yet unloved or remembered. And then ask that experience to speak to you. And I'll just sit here and hold space for a moment for that. Just observe. Where does it take you? What's the experience? What are the feelings? And of course, we're in the last few days of March. And so you're invited to observe what happens in terms of harmonization. That's what I'm seeing is going to be happening over the last few days. What will dissolve into harmony through these last days of March? New consciousness is dawning across our beautiful planet. Picture millions of eyes opening wide, observing this new light, this new observation, this new awareness and knowing. And then also, we are now in the time where we will be witnessing what we have been speaking about for some time, which is souls leaving the planet in rather large numbers. I'm pretty sure that guy spoke about maybe 30% of the population leaving the planet over this time. And I want to remind you what she has said about that those are the souls who came to service until this time. So they may have, they've come for a variety of roles, but for many of them, I was showing that for a lot of them anyway, they had come to hold the density. So that was just the role they were playing. They were holding the density until the planet was ready for this ascension experience or this dimensional shift. And that we are, I am in the knowing that we are sort of amid that. I'm not sure how that will show up to us, but that we are amid a dimensional shift and that we're in this, you could say that we've got this sort of a long, this long shift, and then within it, so if you think about this beautiful light that shows up and it's like uh awakens like the dawn. You could see that as like the long shift, but then within that like if you're in the city, I was in the city yesterday and the day before, and I had this where I could see all the lights at dawn. And so if you think about the sun, the dawning of the sun being all of this the sort of long light, and then all the street lights and house lights coming on in between. That's kind of how I'm seeing it. So, each of us might be one of those lights, or one of those lights might be a community or a family or geography. But it's that kind of idea. It's like the long a lighting, illumination, and then the short bursts of it. So yeah, it's I can get really, really emotional about it. Well, that's good. Thanks very much. I'll just get rid of that on my screen. Hopefully you're still there. Yes. But we've been speaking about this for years. And we've been in it and out of it, and we've been on the edges of it, and then something's come in that's meant that we've had to pull back. And it's been a very long game that we've been playing here, but we're in the end parts of it, at least on this sort of level. This time in human evolution and planetary ascension, and it's, it's each of us, and it's humanity as a whole, and it's the species on the planet, and it's the planet itself, and the movement through the galaxy, and that beautiful thing that Gaia said that always touches me about we are returning to our rightful place in the galaxy as the crown jewel of the universe, and as the living library in the interplanetary destination point. And that a lot of the beings who are leaving now, they agreed to come here to be of service to humanity and Gaia. And as did we. We just are doing that in a different way. So, we are here now. I want to say, you who are here, we who are here, we have come to anchor in this higher energy, the higher frequencies. And if you remember that post I wrote about imagining that we're so tall that one part of us is connected to the heavenly realms and the other part is anchored here deeply into the center of Gaia, and we're being the conduits of these higher frequencies and lights. And then there's so many kind of beautiful expressions, really, but we're opening, I want to say we are opening to like another layer. If you think about the lotus, and the lotus has all these layers of flowers, like there's a whole new layer of petals. No, sorry, the lotus has layers of petals. It's a whole new layer opening within, and within that, like right within the center, is your sacred flame. And that's to me, it's your Christed light, it's your illumination, your sacred illumination. And that's going to be more accessible for people to be able to observe. Yeah. So I can't believe I still have a few pages of notes. Anyway, I'm just going to finish here with this part. There's this reconnection to this greater self, both within and without, a resonant journey home to self through one's internal divine essence. By the light of your grace, lead yourself home. The light codes entering now are to activate deeper into self. Yeah, I will leave it there, and I'll do the rest of it another time. But it really is an exciting and beautiful and uplifting time that we are in, and this whole idea of, oh my God, is this ever going to happen, is coming into our physical reality now, I want to say. So you don't have to share that really with anybody. You just have to kind of bathe in it yourself, be in the relish, I guess, the relishing of that experience, and be mindful that there will be lots of variant expressions and emotions around you. And so be in your wisdom with how you respond and how you provide support. And no, it's not your job, in my opinion, and in my work with Gaia, it's not anybody's job to awaken anybody else. But how you will awaken other people is by holding your own center, and working with your own energetics, and your energetic field and frequency will have an impact on others. It will activate, it will ignite, and sometimes that will bring up their stuff. So you kind of don't want to be in the position where other people are blaming your light for bringing up their stuff, even though that will happen. But it's you, like, holding your center, being connected top and bottom, being the conduit of this incredible light, and just holding it there. And it's just going to sweep through, and we're going to be witnessing this change. Transmute the lower level energies into the light. That's what Debbie is saying. Yes. Yes, so we do that within self, and it might be that there's places, not so much people, but places where you can do that. Yeah, so I wish you a beautiful week, and well, where are we? What day is it? I am a bit lost. Friday today. Yes, I wish you a beautiful weekend, and I'll be back on sometime in the next few days, no doubt. But yeah, just be in the observance of the energetics over the closing of this month. I want to say it feels very significant, um, what we're going to be experiencing and observing and on our planet, um, by the into towards the end of this month. And then it's hard to know when the actual sort of tipping will occur, but we are in very auspicious times for that, I want to say. So, yeah, so much love to all of you. Big hugs, and I will see you again soon. Oh, yes, with sleep. Um, yes, sleep is very challenging, and I want to say it's because of the speed of the light. And so the light is activating our cells in a pretty significant way, and it makes it hard to sleep. But we'll get better at it. It's just it's a new level that we've gone to, and we've made adjustments all the way through. So we'll manage to do that again. All right. Bye.